My father filed a lawsuit against the town because they're trying to steal his farm. I can't remember the exact date, but the 120 days is up, and what happened is he passed away January 26th, and he had a complaint there that really needed to be amended because it was just he had cancer pretty bad. And they were stressing him out over stealing his farm, and that actually, I believe, put him in the ground a lot quicker. So anyways, me and my brothers basically inherited the lawsuit, we're the heirs. So I had to do guessing of death, is what the clerk told me to do at the federal district court there, with basically a motion attached to it to, give me 60 days to get the plan all amended, and that 60 days we up get it a month here, and, get everybody, all the wrongdoers served. So when we first went in there, we kind of stylized it kind of like your thing where you were talking about suing the governor of Alabama and stuff. And, I put wrongdoers on there and us as the prosecutors. And when we went there, the clerk's like, oh, you're not the prosecutor, and, you're not a prosecutor. Well, yeah, we're prosecuting the case. We're bringing it against these wrongdoers. He just had a tough time wrapping his head around it,
When you talk to somebody at the window, you're talking to a clerk of the court. You're probably not talking to the court clerk, right?
Well, yeah, he's like an assistant, or he's like the supervisor in the office or something. He's not the actual clerk of the court. Yeah,
right. If you're having a problem, say, hey, can I just speak to the court clerk real quick? He's a clerk of the court, and the guy who's in charge of the management of the financial affairs and the paperwork and the filing, that's a court clerk, not the clerk of the court. Okay, so
all right.
Yes, let me get this straight. Let me see, because this is what was funny. A couple of things you said was pretty funny. What they were trying to do to you, telling you had 6 days, which I think is extremely funny. But anyway,
120 days to get everybody served, but my dad died about 20 days before 120 days, and he didn't have everything else up. So I did a suggestion of death and asked for additional 60 days to get the amended complaint in and get them all, get all the wrongdoers served their summons.
Right, because when you really start understanding what you are in common law, you will understand there is no rules, there is no latches, there's no statutes that bind or bound a man. You can do whatever you want.
Oh, okay.
There's no such thing as a statute of limitation when it's in common law. There's no such thing. See, they can't bind you or bound you to something called a latch. There's no such thing. But if you're an attorney or you're pro se or you're represented by an attorney and you're moving under certain rules like Federal Rule of Civil Procedure or where are you from? What state? Texas?
Massachusetts.
I'm glad you guys call up like this because it breaks things down, I think, to help a lot of people, not just you. Most things aren't case specific. Most things are very general knowledge. There is no such thing as a statute of limitation. If you actually want to go back and say, where's Karl getting this nonsense from? Just because he believes this nonsense doesn't make it true. It's like, okay, you want to see where it's actually written down? Okay. It's the Judiciary Act of 1793, Clause 31. There you go. And like I said, I'm just walking around outside my farm right now. I'm not living on the computer. But if you guys actually want to study it, well, you just go knock your socks off. But the whole trick with common law is whatever the hell you say is true. You have to source it? Nope. You have to reference it? You better not. Are you going to make it as a citation of authorities? Oh, you better not. You're going to move your stuff right out of common law and you're going to direct it to whatever you're citing. If you cite an authority in its maritime or merchant law or admiralty law, or you're going to lose common law in a heartbeat.
All right. But you had said something about citing their statutes, and in one of your things I was listening to, and you said something about right CF, and then then they violated their own law, or they violated their own case law, or whatever. What does CF mean? I don't like writing CF because somebody says I actually want to know what it means.
Well, like I said,
I might have missed that.
What you can do is, and like I said, thank God this thing's being recorded, and it's going to be taped for perpetuity now. All you have to do is Google, quote-unquote, anything you don't understand what I'm writing, just do, quote-unquote, CF with a period, and Google it. And you're going to be compared that with.
Oh, okay.
It's so freaking cold here in the West Virginia mountains right now. I compare that with the core of Earth or hell, Now, is there really a hell? I don't know. That's another dimension. Is it real? Is it not real? I don't know. See, but I'm not comparing it with Alaska because that's pretty much on the same plane or the same, three-dimensional kind of thing. I'm doing with something so abstract or bizarre that they understand. They actually understand what this code, compare that with Code 1983, compare that with Title 42, 1983. A civil rights violation by interfering with my rights to my property, blah, blah, blah. Compare that with Title Code 1983.
And that's what I'm really looking to go towards is, Title 42, 1983, but I didn't want, so I guess I would basically say I'm comparing to this or comparing it to your Title 42, 1983, provide blah, blah, blah.
You don't know what it provides. You don't know what it provides because you didn't write that code. You have no freaking clue. You're not there to decipher 1983. All you can say is, I believe that my claim of trespass is comparable, instead of saying comparable, you write CF in 4 corner brackets, you write comparable to a Title 42, 1983 civil rights complaint.
Oh, okay.
That's all. And you put it in a 4 corner rule, or you could put it in a box. It's fine. They'll understand it doesn't appear on your claim, and it has nothing to do with, doesn't steer your claim or reposition your claim. You're still maintaining the course of common law. Because that's what, anytime you do something like that under statutes, all they're doing in statutes is they're maintaining a position. See, they can't declare anything. All they do is all the government can do is maintain a position. That's a government. A government means to steer or to maintain a course of action. So that all the government does is maintain a position. A man makes a claim. A man's not bound by certain governmental procedures or rules. They're bound by black and white paper. Man's unlimited in his capacity. Man somehow figures out how to fly a magic carpet, he can do it. He can do it. If you can figure out how to levitate and circumnavigate the world, well, you go ahead and do it. If it's not written down in some sort of code, like, say, a code for a video game, if Mario doesn't have the capacity to fly around the world because somebody forgot to write it in his code, guess what? No matter how bad you want Mario to do a certain move in Mario Brother game, it ain't going to happen because the guy didn't write it in the code. But me? I'm unlimited in my capacity. Nobody wrote a code for me. Nobody dictates to me. Nobody told me what I have to have. I'm not bound or latched by any code or statute. I'm not bound. My rights are unlimited.
Right. Now, another thing that I wanted to question on a little bit was you were talking about, creating your rules for your action, for what you're prosecuting.
Yeah.
How would you go about that in a complaint? Like, say, is there a certain spot now, or my claim that's similar to the Title 42 action? Would I will only accept verified answers because obviously they won't be able to provide an answer because it's a bunch of it's farm maggots and local bureaucrats that are naming in this thing.
So when the answer doesn't come back verified, what are you going to do? It's done. They failed to answer. So when they fail to answer, they fail to respond, your claim stands unrebutted, so you win.
So then after give them the 21 days or whatever.
Yeah. Whatever the custom is of those people that live there, and what you could say is okay, under county rules, like the federal government, their custom that they have to answer a complaint, not a claim, is 6 months. Okay, that's under the Federal Tort Claim Act, I think of 1947. I think it basically says somewhere in one of the, that it's 6 months. But like I said, under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, when a man sues like somebody else, it's 21 days. It used to be 20 days, but that was too confusing because Saturdays and Sundays not included holidays. So that now they just said, 3 weeks. From start to finish. We don't have to be filed on Friday, 21 days, we're done. So that sounds pretty reasonable. Because, like I said, the way the Bible did it was by sundown. All the books had to be balanced. The ledger sheet had to be done. We open up court the next morning at sunrise, whatever, and the books better be balanced. Everything better be leveled out. So their courts moved like lightning. Everything was done by sundown. So we say 21 days is reasonable. It's not bad.
So they don't respond with a verified answer within 21 days. Then I basically go back to the court and have to judge for a judgment on this defaulted claim.
Yep. If it's a fictional entity that you were making a claim against, that's all you have to do. You just tell the court that this is going to be recorded as a default judgment because they're never going to come back for the rest of eternity and ever say that, hey, you never verified your claim under the oath of affirmation in open court. That's a void judgment. So until they grow some vocal cords, you could just, if you're going against a fictional entity or corporation like that, you could just settle for a default judgment. That's fine. But against a man, you better have your judgment read onto the record in open court. But you're not suing a man, right? You're going after some corporation or something, right?
I'm going after the town of Palmer, land court. But I'm going after the town manager, the tax assessor, the tax collector, the town council, and all of them in their official and individual capacity. Also, they use a court recorder up here. Not even a judge, and they actually kicked me out of my house about a year and a half ago. But they issue a judgment at a land court, and it doesn't even have a signature on it. It's got a spot for a signature, and it says recorder under the little signature line, but nobody even signs it. And I've looked at hundreds of these things in the registry of deeds, and that's how they take people's properties. And then they use that unsigned judgment to go get an eviction from a local district court.
Yeah, it's because nobody ever objects. So since nobody objects, it stands true. It's presumed to be true until somebody objects.
Well, I objected when they kicked me out of my house.
Like I said, you've got to be really careful, because I think you just said that you tried to sue them in their official and individual capacity.
Well, that's what I was looking to do now. That's why I want to run this by you. So what is this? Is there something wrong with suing them in their official and their private capacity?
Well, they did not do something wrong in their official capacity. They did not break their legal laws. They operated 100% within their capacity. You see what I'm saying? That's what that Title 42, 1983 nonsense comes around. If you have a county tax assessor and he says, well, look, you're a gay, Jewish, black lady in a wheelchair, so that basically covers everything under Title 42. So we're going to assess you $1 million for your property, but your neighbor, since he's a pasty white guy, we're only going to charge him $50. That's a Title 42 complaint, because he operated outside of his official capacity. He had no right to assess you unfairly or unreasonably compared to everybody else, but he just didn't like you because of your color or your race or your gender, your sexual orientation, or your disability. You see what I'm saying? So he's not operating outside of his duties as a tax assessor. That's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to assess taxes. What you can sue him for is that you're saying to him, are you claiming that everything that you're assessing me from, you try to take property from me, my money, you try to take something out of that I claim has value. I'm not going to get into this money nonsense with nobody, because if you want to dump a ton of green money to me, well, my post office box is 440 Lexington, Virginia, and you can dump all the green to me all day long. I totally accept that as value. So all you're basically saying to the guy is, well, you have value. You're trying to take something of value from me, okay? I don't want you to take my value from me. So do you believe that a man has a right to take money from another man? So see, that's why you want to sue him on an individual capacity, because no man has a right to take money from another man. Now, the tax assessor has a responsibility, obligation, and duty as the man holding that office to make tax assessments. And that's exactly what he did. Unless he just goes totally bizarre on you and says, well, because you're black, I'm going to charge you 10 times the amount I charge white people. Now you got a Title 42 complaint there. But no, you can't go after them in their official capacity if they're operating within that capacity in which that office was written. If this is what their code says, that this is what they can and cannot do, that's what they're going to do.
So I'm going to say, like in the Massachusetts Constitution, for example, it says, I think it's Article 10, that, each citizen shall contribute their share to the community, blah, blah, blah. But no part of the individual's property shall be taken from him without, due process law, just compensation, or a trial by judgment of peers. I mean, and that's another element of my case. They're, doing this property taking with due process law.
Right.